supposed to be numb to the every dictatorial whim of Now, I know that we're supposed to be numb to the every dictatorial whim of Donald Trump, but in a move that very clearly represents a new low for the current leader of the Republican Party, Donald Trump took to Truth Social, responding to the Hunter Biden Twitter expose, which I'll get to momentarily, and wrote, quote, "So with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception and working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and the Democrat Party, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare a rightful winner, or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Our great founders did not want and would not condone false and fraudulent elections." Oh, nothing. Just the leader of one of our two major political parties calling for the Constitution to quite literally be terminated. Pretty par for the course for the party of the Constitution. Guess that label only sticks as long as it's convenient for them, huh? This all came in the aftermath of Elon Musk's highly touted expose that would finally reveal the huge Hunter Biden story that the evil Democrats have been suppressing for years. Except that expose didn't so much expose the Biden administration as it ended up being a complete dud. Basically, the contention was that the Biden administration colluded with Twitter to commit a First Amendment violation by suppressing certain tweets pertaining to the Hunter Biden story, to which Twitter obliged. Except, few issues. First, the whole thing occurred in the summer of 2020, and I'm not sure if you guys remember when Joe Biden took office, but it wasn't the summer of 2020. So when Republicans, including Musk, claim that the government colluded with Twitter, unless they're referencing Donald Trump, I don't know what they're talking about. Second, when Republicans, again including Musk, claim that this was a violation of the First Amendment, that only applies to the government. It is not suppressing free speech if it's on a private company's platform. And last time I checked, Twitter was not the government. It is a private website. And finally, the expose did actually outline which tweets the Biden team asked Twitter to delete, and guess what? They were nudes of Hunter, which violate Twitter's terms of service, meaning that they should have been deleted anyway. That's the big smoking gun here. Twitter obliged the Biden team's request to delete content that wasn't allowed on the platform in the first place. Talk about an expose. Tell you what, I don't see how Hunter Biden's presidential campaign recovers from this. And what's most ironic is that all of those Republicans, led by Elon Musk, spent the subsequent 12 hours wailing about free speech and the First Amendment. And yet when Donald Trump, the literal leader of their party, came online and called for the termination of the entire Constitution, First Amendment included, suddenly all of those newly minted constitutional conservatives vanished. Suddenly all of the defenders of our founding fathers were nowhere to be found. In other words, when they can pretend that Twitter is the government and blame Democrats for suppressing free speech, it's like a James Madison convention over there on the right. But when their leader calls for the entire Bill of Rights to be abolished, I guess they all took the day off from cosplaying as constitutionalists. But let's be honest, the right won't even know that this happened. Consider this. Here's Tucker Carlson, of course, covering the Hunter Biden story, and yet I would bet my annual salary, along with both of my arms, that he won't utter a single word of what Donald Trump said the very next day.
One of the most extraordinary moments in the history of social media is unfolding right now as we speak, and it began when Elon Musk took control of Twitter. When he bought the company, he promised to reveal its corruption, the extent to which Twitter had engaged in politically motivated censorship, including the unlawful, the illegal censorship of American citizens at the direction of the U.S. government. Well, tonight, less than an hour ago, Musk began to make good on that promise. Twitter shared a trove of internal documents with Matt Taibbi of Substack. Those documents are coming out again as we speak, and what they prove so far is very serious. Those documents show a systemic violation of the First Amendment, the largest example of that in modern history. These documents show that, among other things, political officials in the Democratic National Committee were directing censorship at Twitter ahead of the 2020 election. One Twitter official wrote on October 24th, 2020, that he had received, quote, an additional report from the DNC. So the DNC was telling Twitter what to pull off the site, and Twitter was complying. The next morning, to prove it, a Twitter official confirmed the post had been deleted. I grabbed the first one, that Twitter employee wrote.
Because look, they all know that this story is a dud, but they are collectively pretending that it's a huge breaking big news to manipulate their supporters who've already proven themselves pretty gullible given their proclivity to believe other lies served up by the right. Now, the Biden White House did respond to this threat by Trump with a spokesman saying, quote, "The American Constitution is a sacrosanct document that for over 200 years has guaranteed that freedom and the rule of law prevail in our great country. The Constitution brings the American people together, regardless of party, and elected leaders swear to uphold it. It's the ultimate monument to all the Americans who have given their lives to defeat self-serving despots that abuse their power and trampled on fundamental rights. Attacking the Constitution and all it stands for is anathema to the soul of our nation and should be universally condemned. You cannot only love America when you win." But of course, all of those constitutional conservatives who just spent the whole day broadcasting their reverence for the Constitution surely don't need to be lectured on their beloved document, right? Right? Anyone? And here's what the takeaway is here. The fact that these Republicans all branded themselves constitutionalists the literal night before they all went radio silent after their own guy attacked the Constitution is just one more example of how Republicans don't actually stand for any of the things that they've branded themselves. This is a party that's claimed to be for family values, only to then turn around and pledge loyalty to the guy who paid out God knows how many hush money payouts for affairs. This is a party that claimed to be for states' rights, only to then sign on to the Texas lawsuit attempting to nullify the election results in other states, all because they weren't happy with the results. This is a party that claimed to be for fiscal responsibility, only to then add $7.8 trillion to the national debt when they had unified control of government. It's a party that claims to be pro-police, only to then have voted against state and local funding that would aid police departments. And of course, a party that claims to be for the military, only to then turn around and vote against the PACT Act when it was first up for a vote because they wanted to punish the Democrats for introducing the Inflation Reduction Act. These things weren't actual values. They were words that the Republican Party hid behind while attempting to market themselves to Americans. In reality, here's what the GOP supports: tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires, banning abortion nationwide, eliminating Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, banning books, punishing doctors, preventing people from voting, pretending that climate change doesn't exist, coddling fossil fuel companies, eliminating any restrictions that might protect people from gun violence, and refusing to accept the results of any election where they don't win. This is an agenda that has minority support at best, and of course, they'll never acknowledge that agenda outright because it's too unpopular, and so instead you're left with culture wars and migrant caravans and pretending that immigrants are coming to steal your jobs and that trans people are going to go into the wrong bathrooms to assault your kids, and on and on. It is a tactic as old as it is predictable, but the through line is clear. They're doing whatever they can to deceive you. And this newfound, albeit fleeting appreciation for the Constitution from the right, but only when it's convenient, is a testament to exactly that. Before you go, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. You can click the thumbnail right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work even further, the best way is to subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. There you can check out my interviews with major players in the world of politics, including President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Katie Porter, Jamie Raskin, and so many more. Plus other interviews that live exclusively on the podcast. That link is also right here on this screen, or just search No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen wherever you listen to podcasts.